Hello everyone. Welcome to Mary's Little House. Right now it's buried under a snow cover of 14 inches and it's still snowing. I am so grateful to welcome you. We live right below the shrine of Our Lady of the Snows, and it's very appropriate for the name Our Lady of the Snows because we got a lot of snow here in Belleville, Illinois, and here in Centerville, Illinois, where Mary's Little House is, right below the National Shrine of Our Lady of the Snows in Belleville, Illinois. Lots of snow. And tomorrow we'll have record low degrees for this area. It's been said that it might be down to 7 below zero tomorrow evening. I am so grateful to be with you. This is the feast of the Epiphany of the Lord. And you see behind us a fireplace scene, a fireplace screen rather. When Years ago, when we went to the Dominican Republic, to Santo Domingo, we saw all kinds of the three kings, of the three magi, and they were way beyond our price range. And we came home hoping to find the figures of the three kings so we can honor and venerate them. You know their names. BCM, I always have to remember Balthazar, Casper, and Melchior. Many people today ask a blessing for these from these three kings because they protected Jesus by going home on a different route and not telling that Herod, who was ready to come and destroy and hurt the newly born king of the Jews and of the whole world, that they protected. So we call on their protection, and people write over their door, over their front door or their entrances, 2014, 20, Balthazar, Casper, and Melchior. Just the BCM. They don't write out the whole name. 14, 20 BCM 14, and you see that on many Catholic and Christian homes. Those chalk marks up there with the date and the and asking their blessing over the home, because they protected by their obedience to God, to the Spirit, the Holy Child of Bethlehem, our Jesus, our King, who came, God Himself, who became flesh, so He can suffer and die for us and rise for us and win our salvation. Well, I'm going to talk about the three kings with the help of a great, and still living, a great mind, but and a very holy man, our Pope Benedict the 16th Emeritus. He wrote something about the three kings, and I've used it in my reflection, but I just want to talk about a little bit of it. Before I start, Peanut's still awake. I want you to meet Peanut again. He's got his new Christmas hairdo. He's just so silky and beautiful, but he's not very sure. He's pretty indifferent to all this celebrity, but he's just beautiful, and he's so good and so loyal, and so kind and so obedient. He's a little. We call him. He looks like a little lamb. Mary's little lamb at Mary's Little House. We had it differently, but anyway, that's what we call him. An angel is buried up under the snow up there was also looked just like Peanut, like little lambs. Mary's little lamb dogs. Mary's little lamb dogs, we call them. And they're so meek and mild, like little lambs. Okay, I want to talk about these three kings. Oh, the way we got this one here, as I said, we came back from Santo Domingo, where in South America they have all kinds of images of the three kings separate from the crib, because they really celebrate big the the Epiphany, and they have beautiful traditions with the kings come in town and everything, and it's beautiful. But anyway, we wanted to, we prayed that we'd get some images of the three kings. Well, after we had been to Santo Domingo, that um, that year of the Epiphany, we went out after it was after Christmas, of course, Epiphany, and on the very day of Epiphany, we went to see the discounted things for Christmas. We get discounted things to put in our gift baskets for the auction. And when we went down the discount row, we did this a box was in on the aisle laying. We had to trip over it almost. And this was the Three Kings. We got them at half price, and ever since we got it, it's been up in front of our fireplace all year long. The Three Kings. We just love them. And after that, we come across many sets of Three Kings from all over the world, and we have as a collection of our Mother of God Ministries, who we collect nativities, and we also collect sets of the Three Kings that are separate from the sets. Well, of course, during the sets we have Three Kings too. I'm so grateful, and I wanted to show these because they're in front of the fireplace in our front room, the fireplace room here at Mary's little house. The Three Kings, and the city always loved the Three Kings and encouraged us to emulate them, to follow, to keep our eyes on the star, to follow Jesus. And our star is Mary, a star of the sea. She guides us across the sea of light to her Son Jesus, and gives us Jesus as our King, our way, our truth, our life. And that's what I want to talk to you tonight about, how we could imitate these three kings, Melchior, Caspar, and Balthazar. Well, first of all, our Holy Father, Benedict XVI Emeritus, he talks about the restlessness in all of us, where our minds are made for truth, and they will not rest until, as St. Augustine says, rest until they rest in God. God is the truth. Our minds are made for truth, and our heart is made for love. And that yearning to love, and to be loved, is also God is love, and that's so. Our minds and hearts have to be, our whole being is orientated to God, so as truth and as love. Okay, so we have a restless human being. All of us have that restlessness. And here's what our Holy Father, Benedict XVI Emeritus, says. Human beings have an innate restlessness for God. It's just in us, because we're oriented. We have a capacity for truth, and until we find truth, we will be restless. Until we find love, we will be restless. And the capacity to love and be loved, we will be restless. This is a restlessness. And these three kings, noble kings, these three kings had that restlessness and did something about it. And it calls us to do something about it too, to get on our camels and find God. Okay, human beings have an innate restlessness for God. But this restlessness is a participation of God's own restlessness for us. God has a restlessness for us. When I read that, I said, what? God has restlessness? And here's Benedict XVI explains. Faith is nothing less than being interiorly seized by God. Usually we're always trying to find God and capture God, but God is restless for us. He has a love for unity with us because He loves us so much, and He has this great yearning to fill us with happiness. And we can't be happy, we can't have peace until we find the truth. He wants to give us Himself. That's His restlessness, to give Him Himself as our truth and as our love. Okay. So something which guides us, okay, entirely seized by God, something which guides us along the pathways of life. That's his restlessness. He's guiding us to himself, to his truth, which will give us peace, that we will finally rest and get over this restlessness, because we can't have peace and happiness and joy and fulfillment without having the truth. We can't have peace, happiness, and joy without having God, who is the source of our love, who will fulfill all our yearning to love and be loved, for he is love. Faith draws us into a state of being seized by the restlessness of God. So we get pulled in by God, and faith, but we have a free will. We can say, no, God, don't get too close to me. I have a good time in here, and life is good, and all that. So without you, no, with faith, because faith is a free act to believe or not to believe. So God is drawing us in, through nature, to the beautiful snow outside, to a lovely little creature like Peanut, to just experience his love, and looking at the crib, Jesus, that we look at all the crib, the crib of Bethlehem. That since so many families at the shrine bring their little children and explain the mystery of God's love shown in the gift, the greatest Christmas gift, the gift of his Son to save us. And it makes us pilgrims. With this God's restlessness, God seizing us, God inviting us, makes us pilgrims. We got to get on our camels like the three kings. Makes us pilgrims who are on an inner journey. It's not geographical. It's psychological and inside us, and our minds and heart journey towards the true King of the world and his promise of justice, truth, and love. The wise men and love. The wise men from the east were also here. They're coming in. They're going to teach us how to be seized by God in this journey of faith. That God is inviting us, God is guiding us, God's guiding us through the church, through the prophets before. God's guiding us into himself. God's guiding us to find him, and so we can finally find the truth, and find our hearts are restless until we find God, until we find the truth, until our hearts rest in God. And God is love too. The wise men from the east were also, and above all, men of courage, the courage and humility born of faith. They had to have courage to get on those camels and go, and humility. Look at them. He describes, our Holy Father Pope Benedict describes it better. Courage was needed to grasp the meaning of the star as a sign to set out to go forth towards the unknown, the uncertain, on paths filled with hidden dangers. Yes, we're going to take risks. We're going to trust God more than our own selves. We're trusting God. He's leading us. He'll be leading us. A just man is led by faith, and faith is not by our eyes, by sight. It's by faith. It's in darkness. We trust God. He's leading us. Our eyes, in a way, are closed, and letting God lead us in that game of trusting others. That's the example. We're not going by our own sight, but by God leading us. In a way, our human eyes are closed. God wants us to use our human eyes, but when it comes to the spiritual journey, it's like we're closed, because we're not going by our own perceptions and things, but by God's inspiration. We can imagine their decision was met with derision, the scorn of those realists who could only mock the reveries of such men. Anyone who took off on the basis of such uncertain promises, risking everything, could only appear ridiculous. But for these men, inwardly seized by God, the way which he pointed out was more important than what other people thought. But they weren't politically correct, or they weren't looking good. They looked like a bunch of fools going on this thing of following some star. For them, seeking the truth meant more than the taunts of the world, so apparently clever. The wise men followed the star and thus came to Jesus, to the great light which enlightens everyone coming into this world. As pilgrims of faith, the wise men themselves became stars shining in the firmament of history, and they show us the way. So all these images, we see all in South America, all these images of the three kings, they're the stars now. They're the stars showing us how to get on that camel, how to start out on our spiritual pilgrimage, no matter what people think, no matter how many people don't believe and think we're fools for believing, or all that shows us how to go against public opinion, if you wish, or political correctness, shows us how to go by faith and keep on seeking, letting God guide us, who sees us, and bring us to truth, which is Jesus, the newborn King, Jesus, the one that we venerate and adore. Adeste fidelis, oh come, let us adore him. They did, and they pointed to Jesus, and they followed the star, and they made it. Their hearts were restless, and they rested until they rested in God. And they teach us to keep our eyes on the star, like when we play ball. Every pitch, no matter what field you're in, you wait for it's going to come to you. The ball, as if the ball were going to come to you at every pitch. You are there, walking in faith, watching the star, watching Blessed Mother bring us, the star of the sea, bring us to the safe harbor of her Son, who is our life, our truth, and our way. And the three kings become stars, and they're stars from the time they left Bethlehem by way of another route to not tell Herod they're stars up until this time. They've even become fireplace screens to remind us to remain faithful to our journey, to our inner pilgrimage, to find Jesus, and be stars ourselves, stars shining for others, to bring others to Jesus, who will give them joy and happiness and fulfillment and meaning, because he is the one, he is the truth, and he is the love that we are God has made us for. That's why we are here, to know, love, and serve him, to be happy with him now and forever in heaven. That's the meaning of life, and they found it. These three kings, they found it, and teach us how to be intrepid, no matter what people think, to follow Jesus, to follow the star to Jesus. God bless you.